everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going over the new releases for the first quarter of 2023. So today is going to be the last day of Bookmas. We are doing this on the 25th of December, so Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. But basically, I want to start showing you guys the new releases that I'm very excited for coming out in the first quarter of the year. I do this every single quarter, so we will have 3 more videos throughout the year talking about more releases that I'm excited for. I always seem to have more things that I'm excited for than I'm realistically going to read in the year, but I think we're starting out pretty modest. I have 20 books here to show you that are coming out January, February, and March, obviously, of 2023. We do have a little Elliot guest star over here as well, and basically we're going to go through most of these I probably don't know everything about, and we're going to read the synopsis. Some of these I know a little bit more. 20 books. Mommy has 20 books? Wow. I think I have more than 20, but like, good counting. Oh, he's just repeating what I said. I have 20 books for this video. Behind me, I have more than that. But yes, so we're going to be starting obviously with January, and at the very beginning of January, there are 2 releases coming out on January 3rd. The first is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. This one looks like it might be a young adult romance, where the only stuff I've really read from her are adult romances. It says Bradley Graham is pretty much perfect. He's a star football player, manages his OCD well enough, and comes out on top in all his classes, except the ones he shares with his ex-best friend Celine. Celine Bangura is conspiracy theory obsessed. Social media followers eat up her takes on everything from UFOs to holiday overconsumption, yet she's still not cool enough for the popular kids' table, which is why Brad abandoned her for the in-crowd years ago. At least that's how Celine sees it. These days, there's nothing between them other than petty insults and academic rivalry. So when Celine signs up for a survival course in the woods, she's surprised to find Brad right beside her. Forced to work as a team for the chance to win a grand prize, these 2 teens must trudge through not just mud and dirt, but their messy past. And as this adventure brings them closer together, they begin to remember the good bits of their history, but has too much time passed or just enough to spark a whole new kind of relationship. The next one coming out on this date is A Ruinous Fate by Kaylee Smith. Calliope Rosewood is a witch with a long streak of bad luck. Like all witches in Illustras, her fate is directly tied to witches' dice, powerful artifacts that have blessed her kind with limitless magic, but also set them on a path toward destruction. Cursed with unspeakable powers that terrify even the most dangerous witches and fae, Kala deserted her coven 4 years ago and has been in hiding with her 2 best friends since. But Kala is also hiding a grave secret. She is only 3 rolls away from becoming the last blood warrior and starting the final war that will decimate her people and eradicate their magic. After a betrayal from her ex leads her one step closer to fulfilling that age-old prophecy, Kala is desperate to do whatever it takes to reset her fate, even if that means journeying into the deadly, never-ending forest with said ex and his enticing yet enigmatic older brother to find the one being who can help her forge her own path. As Kala ventures farther into the enchanted woods, she finds her heart torn between her past desires and the alluring new possibilities of her future, and learns that choosing your own destiny may come with deadly consequences. Then there are also 2 books coming out on January 10th, the first of which is Midnight Duet by Jen Comfort. This is going to end up being a sort of like gender-bent retelling of Phantom of the Opera. Self-professed diva Erica Green has it all. A starring role on Broadway, legions of fans, spectacular natural talent. But after an accident on stage leaves her face scarred and her career in shambles, Erica retreats to Paris, Nevada, where she's inherited a ramshackle opera house in desperate need of some TLC. Erica pours her savings into the building, but it's not enough to stave off casino developer Raoul Decomte's avaricious gaze. With foreclosure imminent, she leases the space to some unexpected tenants, a German hair metal band fronted by glam rock god Christoph Daye. Erica is tempted by Christoph's low-slung leather pants, and even more so by his ambitious drive to make Nought music international superstars. But he's off limits. The rest of his band thinks he's still dating their beloved keyboardist, who is conveniently not present on this jaunt of the American Southwest. When Erica finds out Kristoff's been unceremoniously dumped and is trying to keep it under wraps, she makes a deal to keep his secret, for a price of course. Kristoff is desperate to hold the rest of the band together after his keyboardist's departure, but he can't maintain the charade forever, nor can he resist the opera house's mysterious proprietor, who tempts him with midnight singing lessons. It isn't long before sensuous nighttime interludes turn into smoldering backstage encounters. But can their newly ignited passion survive the searing light of day, or will their beautiful duet turn into a broken-hearted power ballad for one? And then we also have Exes and O's by Amy Lee. Romance novel connoisseur Tara Chen has had her heart broken 10 times by 10 different men, all of whom dumped her because of her stage 5 clinger tendencies. Nevertheless, Tara is determined to find the one. The only problem? Classic meet-cutes are dead thanks to modern dating apps. So Tara decides to revisit her exes in hopes of securing her very own trope-worthy second chance romance. Boston firefighter Trevin Metcalf will be the first to rush into a burning building, but the last to rush into a relationship. Love just isn't his thing. When his new roommate Tara enlists him to help her reconnect with her exes, he reluctantly agrees, but Tara's journey is leading him to discover his own new chapter. The more time they spend together, the more Tara realizes Trevor seems to be the only one who appreciates her authentic, dramatic self. To claim their happily ever after, can Tara and Trevor read between the lines of their growing connection? And then there are also 2 books coming out on January 17th, which is my birthday, so this is a good possibility that I will probably be purchasing these. The first is Glitterland by Alexis Hall. This was actually previously self-published by this author with a different cover and everything, but it does look like it has been picked up by Source Books Casablanca. I want to say that's more of a traditional publisher versus indie, but it has a whole new cover and everything. Once the golden boy of the English literary scene, now a clinically depressed writer of pulp crime fiction, Ash Winters has given up on hope, happiness, and most of all, himself. He lives his life between the cycles of his illness, haunted by the ghosts of other people's expectations. Then a chance encounter throws him into the path of Essex-born Darian Taylor. Flashy and loud, radiant and full of life, Darian couldn't be more different, and yet he makes Ash laugh, reminding him of what it's like to step beyond the boundaries of his anxiety. But Ash has been living in his own shadow for so long that he can no longer see a way out. Can a man who doesn't trust himself ever trust in happiness? And how can someone who doesn't believe in happiness ever fight for his own? And then we also have The Mysteries of Thorn Manor by Margaret Rogerson. This says Sorcery of Thorns 1.5 because it is going to be a novella. And basically it looks like it's going to be setting up where Sorcery of Thorns stopped. And I recently read Sorcery of Thorns, absolutely loved it, 5 out of 5 stars. And so of course I immediately was like, oh, there's going to be sort of a sequel. I need to read this. I'm not going to get into this one because of the fact that it is technically a sequel, even if it is a novella sequel. But the first one follows our main character of Elizabeth, who was basically growing up in a library, and in this world, libraries are sort of alive. They have books that are called grimoires, and they have like life to them, and after a tragedy happens at her library, she's blamed for certain things and is trying to actually figure out what happens. She becomes friends with a sorcerer in this world who like she previously was like scared of because sorcerers and librarians apparently like don't mix. And I'm very, very curious to see where this book is going to go because I love the first one so much. And then one book is coming out on January 28th, which is called Click to Subscribe by G.L. Tomas. Goodreads has no summary for this one. I literally added it because of the cover artist, Lenny Kaufman. I absolutely love her covers. The thing is, I'm sure that when there was an announcement for this, there was some sort of summary. I don't know anything else about it. And it looks like there is like some sort of photo studio behind them, and it does say click to subscribe. I'm leaving this in this video, even though I have literally no idea what it's about. It's probably a romance though. And then 2 books are coming out on January 31st. The first of which is Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. This is the last book in the Last Hours series, which is part of the overall Shadowhunters World series. Like, it is very in-depth. This is the series that is historical fiction, takes place after the Infernal Devices series. They're all a little bit interconnected, but I do think you just sort of might want to read the Infernal Devices before this one because of the fact that like the main characters in that first series, this is technically like the next generation of people. That's like some of the kids and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Shadowhunters. It's the last book in the series. Cassandra Clare is actually coming and like doing a tour and is coming to Arizona on like February 4th, and I have bought tickets for that because I needed to. But yeah, this is going to be the last book in this trilogy. And then I also have a picture book that I'm really excited for. It's called This Little Kitty by Karen Obuhanich. I'm hopefully saying that last name correctly. Probably not. But it's going to be a bold and graphic style with a bouncy rhyming text. I love rhyming text in picture books. This picture book catches rascally kittens being their adorable and mischievous selves from morning to nap to night. And so I'm just very, very excited for a kitty picture book. And I think the reason I have this on my list is actually the illustrator as well. I don't know if it's the same author and illustrator here, but I do follow the illustrator at least. I think it's the same person on Instagram, and so they announced that they were doing this one, and I was like, yes, please. Okay, moving into February, there is one book coming out on February 2nd, which is Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. I don't know too much else about like what this 5th volume is going to be. I think we mostly all know about Heartstopper, mostly because of this, but also the Netflix TV show. But it is going to be a graphic novel series that is following Nick and Charlie. One is gay, one is bi, they're discovering identity, having a relationship. I know later volumes in the series, like I think volume 3 and volume 4, also deal with mental health and mental illness, and I'm very excited for volume 5, although I don't, like I said, know exactly what this volume entails. There's also one book coming out on February 14th, which is Take the Lead by Alexis Daria. Gina Morales wants to win. It's her 5th season on The Dance Off, a top-rated network TV celebrity dance competition, and she's never even made it to the finals. When she meets her latest partner, she sees her chance. He's handsome, rippling with muscles, and he stars on the popular Alaskan wilderness reality show Living Wild. With his sexy physique and name recognition, she thinks he's her ticket to the finals, until she realizes they're being set up. Stone Nielsen hates Los Angeles. He hates reality TV, and he hates the fact that he had to join the cast of The Dance Off because of family obligations. He can't wait to get back to Alaska, but he also can't deny his growing attraction to his bubbly Puerto Rican dance partner. Neither of them are looking for romantic entanglements, and Stone can't risk revealing his secrets. But as they heat up on the dance floor, it's only a matter of time until he feels an overwhelming urge to take the lead. When the tabloids catch on to their developing romance, the spotlight threatens to ruin not just their relationship, but their careers and their shot at the trophy. Gina and Stone will have to decide if their priorities lie with fame, fortune, or the chance at a future together. And then there are 2 books coming out on February 21st. The first one is Project Nought by Chelsea Ferretti. This one did originally say February 21st, but I'm also now seeing it just might have been moved back. But it also says it was first published this last year. So I'm going to mention it just in case anyway. It is going to be a graphic novel. It says, Ren Mittal's last memory in the year 1996 is getting on a bus to visit his mystery pen pal Georgia. When he wakes up in 2122, he thinks he might be hallucinating. He's not. Tech conglomerate Chronotech sponsors a time travel program to help students in 2122 learn what history was really like, from real-life subjects who've been transported into the future, and Ren is one of them. In 2122, Ren's life in the 1990s is practically ancient history, and Ren's not sure how to feel about that. On top of it all, he learns that his memory will be wiped of all things 2122 before he's sent back to the 90s. Adding to Ren's complicated feels, he's forming a crush on his student guide, Mars. And when he crosses paths with the absolute last person he expected to see in the future, he has a bigger problem on his hands. What if Chronotech isn't the benevolent organization they claim to be, and he and his fellow subjects are in great danger? So whether this is actually coming out in February or June, potentially, I'm excited. And then the other one is going to be a paperback version of a hardcover that was out previously, but I'm really enjoying this cover. It's going to be The Other Merlin by Robin Schneider. So this is going to be a take on the Arthurian legend. Obviously, it says, "Welcome to the great kingdom of Camelot. Prince Arthur's a depressed botanist who would rather marry a library than a princess. Lancelot's been demoted to castle guard after a terrible lie, and Emery Merlin has arrived at the castle disguised as her twin brother, since girls can't practice magic. Life at court is full of scandals, lies, and backstabbing courtiers. So what's a casually bisexual teen wizard masquerading as a boy to do, other than fall for the handsome prince, stir up trouble with the foppish Lord Gawain, and offend the prissy Princess Guinevere? When the truth comes out with disastrous consequences, Emery has to decide whether she'll risk everything for the boy she loves, or give up her potential to become the greatest wizard Camelot has ever known." Now we are moving into March. There are 3 books coming out on March 7th. The first is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. Marielle Spark is prophesied to be the most powerful witch seen in centuries of the famed Spark family, but to the displeasure of her mother, she prefers baking to brewing potions and gardening to casting hexes. When a spell to summon flower goes very wrong, Marielle finds herself staring down a demon, one she inadvertently summoned for a soul bargain. Ozroth the Ruthless is a legend among demons. Powerful and merciless, he drives hard bargains to collect mortal souls. But his reputation has suffered ever since a bargain went awry. If he can strike a bargain with Marielle, he will earn back his deadly reputation. Ozroth can't leave Marielle's side until they complete the bargain, which she refuses to do. Turns out some humans are attached to their souls. But the witch is funny and curvy and disgustingly yet endearingly cheerful. Becoming awkward roommates quickly escalates when Marielle, terrified to confess the inadvertent summoning to her mother, blurts out that she's dating Ozroth. As Ozroth and Marielle struggle with their opposing goals and maintaining a fake relationship, real attraction blooms between them. But Ozroth has a limited amount of time to strike the deal, and if Marielle gives up her soul, she'll lose all her emotions, including love, which will only spell disaster for them both. We also have something wild and wonderful by Anita Kelly. Alexei Lebedev's journey to the Pacific Crest Trail begins with a single snake, and it is angling for the hot stranger who seemed to have appeared out of thin air. Lex is prepared for rattlesnakes, blisters, and months of solitude. What he isn't prepared for is Ben Carvalho, but somehow on a 2,500-mile trail, Alexei keeps running into the outgoing and charismatic hiker with golden brown eyes again and again. It might be coincidence. Then again, maybe there's a reason the trail keeps bringing them together. Ben has made his fair share of bad decisions, and almost all of them involve beautiful men. And yet there's something about the gorgeous and quietly nerdy Alexei that Ben can't just walk away from. Surely a bad decision can't be this cute and smart. But there are worse things than falling in love during the biggest adventure of your life. But when their plans for the future are turned upside down, Ben and Alexei begin to wonder if it's possible to hold on to something this wild and wonderful. There also, surprisingly, is going to be a new volume of Orange by Ichiko Takano. This one says Orange and then like a subtitle, To You, Dear One. This is a series that I have absolutely loved. I have not read in a while because it was originally, I think, a 5-volume series that was like the whole series. And then volume 6 was like an extended epilogue that nobody really knew was coming, but the author surprised us. And now, again, we're having another volume. I'm very curious, but this original series, I should say, because I don't actually know too much about this one, and it's like volume 7, is a like sci-fi romance coming-of-age story about a girl who ends up receiving a letter from her future self to like save a classmate because he died in high school, and so like she's at that time of her life and she's trying to figure out how to save him. And I absolutely loved the original stuff and even the epilogue, like volume 6, so I'm so curious about volume 7. Then there are 2 books coming out on March 14th. The first is The Memory Eater by Rebecca Mahoney. For generations, a monster called the Memory Eater has lived in the caves of Whistler Beach, Maine, surviving off the unhappy memories of those who want to forget. And for generations, the Harlows have been in charge of keeping her locked up and keeping her fed. After her grandmother dies, 17-year-old Alana Harlow inherits the family business. But there's something Alana doesn't know. The strange gaps in her memory aren't from an accident. Her memories have been taken, eaten. and with them, she's lost the knowledge of how to keep the monster contained. Now the memory eater is loose. Alana's mistake could cost Whistler Beach everything, unless she can figure out how to retrieve her own memories and recapture the monster. But as Alana delves deeper into her family's magic and the history of her town, she discovers a shocking secret at the center of the Harlow family business and learns that tampering with memories never comes without a price. And then we also have Feed the Silence by Lee Mandello. Apparently both of the books coming out on this day have something to do with eating or feeding. That was just a coincidence, I swear. What does it mean to be in kind with a non-human animal? Or in Dr. Sean Kell-Ludden's case, to be in kind with one of the last remaining wild wolves? Using a neurological interface to translate her animal subject's perception through her own mind, Sean intends to chase both her scientific curiosity and her secret, lifelong desire to experience the intimacy and freedom of wolfishness, to see the world through animal eyes, smell the forest thick with olfactory messages, even taste the blood and viscera of a fresh kill, and, above all, to feel the belonging of the pack. Sean's tireless research gives her a chance to fulfill that dream, but pursuing it has a terrible cost. Her obsession with work endangers her fraying relationship with her wife. Her research methods threaten her mind and body, and the attention of her VC funders could destroy her subject, the beautiful wild wolf whose mental world she's invading. And then finally, there are 2 books coming out on March 28th. The first is In Nightfall by Suzanne Young. In the quaint town of Nightfall, Oregon, it isn't the dark you should be afraid of, it's the girls. This is going to be The Lost Boys meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so I'm very excited. Theo and her brother Marco threw the biggest party of the year and got caught. Their punishment, leave Arizona to spend the summer with their grandmother in the rainy beachside town of Nightfall, Oregon. Population 846 souls. The small town is cute when it's not raining, but their grandmother is superstitious and strangely antisocial. Upon their arrival, she lays out the one house rule: always be home before dark. But Theo and Marco are determined to make the most of their summer, and on their first day they meet the enigmatic Minnow and her friends. Beautiful and charismatic, the girls have a magnetic pull that Theo and her brother can't resist. But Minnow and her friends are far from what they appear, and that one rule? Theo quickly realizes she should have listened to her grandmother, because after dark something emerges in Nightfall, and it doesn't plan to let her leave. And then finally we have Greymist Fair by Francesca Zappia. 2 roads lead into a dark forest. They meet at Greymist Fair, the village hidden in the trees, a place kept alive by families that never leave. The people of Greymist Fair know the woods are a dangerous and magical place, and to set foot off the road is to invite trouble. When Heike, the village's young tailor, discovers a body on the road, she goes looking for who is responsible, but her quest only leads to more strange happenings around Greymist Fair. It's going to be inspired by the original bloody, lesser-known fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm, which I'm very excited for because I've read pretty much all the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. And it also says it features chapter decorations by the author throughout, as well as a map. This is the same author as Eliza and Her Monsters, which was also about like fan art and stuff like that. And so I'm very excited for the illustrations because she's been known to do this with some of her books. And that, like I said, is going to be the last one. That was a very, very short summary for this. But I'm actually very, very excited. I want it to be dark because of the fact that it's going to follow some of the bloody Brothers Grimm fairy tales. But yes, that is the 20th book, the last one I have on this list of books that I'm very excited for coming out in January, February, and March. I don't know how many else we'll have when we do more of these throughout the year. I always seem to have the smallest months at the beginning and the end of the year, and like those 2 videos in the middle of the year where those like 6 months come up around summertime. Those ones usually have quite a few books. So we shall see. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Let me know what books you are excited for in the first 3 months of the year, because I'm always curious and always adding books to my TBR. But otherwise, I do have videos currently going up on Thursdays because this is the last day of Bookmas. So no video up tomorrow, new video up probably on Thursday, and I will see you then. Bye!